Yeah, so today we're looking at my Kraken 580. Um, just by looking at the picture, you could see what a beautiful helicopter this is. This video is not a flying video. I'm not going to show you how it flies. Again, I say it all the time. If you want to see the pros fly it, Kyle Stacy's your man. Um, this is just to show you the helicopter and why I think it's the best helicopter out there. I mean, right now, you just take a look at it. The overall design is just phenomenal. I love the way that everything is encapsulated. I don't see the drive gears. I don't see anything. I just see one beautiful helicopter. To me, this just looks more like a real helicopter versus other helicopters I fly that look more like a toy. Um, I, again, I'm new to SAB, and this is my first SAB. Or SAB, I would never go back. Again, an unbelievable premium helicopter. Um, every detail is really thought up. I mean, right to the canopy removal. The canopy looks beautiful, has two little push pins, comes off, snaps right back on. And you can hear that I'm actually charging up because I'm at the field. But this helicopter is just premium from top to bottom. If you're, thinking about making the change, I highly recommend it. Just overall, one of the best helicopters I've ever owned. And again, I'm an SAB fan forever now. This is my helicopter. Okay, so why is this Kraken the best helicopter out there? Um, First of all, nice mid-size helicopter. All the parts on this helicopter are of the highest quality. I mean, this is one of the best builds I've ever done. Right down to the instruction manual. This is just a complete pleasure. I mean, if you look at it, the graphics on this thing are unbelievable. The visibility when you're flying is the best I've ever seen. It's a nice light helicopter, flies unbelievable. You can fly 6S, 12S. Again, this video I'm just talking about why I think this is a great helicopter. If you really want to see what this thing can do, Kyle Stacy, is the guy to watch, right? He'll show you this thing is just unbelievable. So again, when I talk about every detail was thought of in this helicopter, if we look here, I mean, the wiring is super clean. Why? Because Saab decided they're going to make a wiring rail here where you could run all your wires through and keep them nice, clean, right? I mean, it's such a simple idea, but that's how detailed this helicopter is. I mean, all the other helicopters, when I used to build them, I had to run the wire through the frame. They don't really give you instruction. It's like, hey, just get from point A to point B. And you're trying to run it, make sure it's not in the way of the motor, it's not going to interfere with anything. This, nice, simple, put it on the rails, super clean, easy to maintain. Everything is just so well thought out. You know, you can see from the placement of everything. So, I got my motor here. Here's my X-Nova motor. Here's my servos, right? Here's my little Neo. Using a V-bar touch, by the way. But super, super clean. I mean, everything basically I run down here, straight down this path, right to my Neo. No other wires really on the helicopter. It's just super clean, super great, super detailed. Again, I just love this thing. The tail is beautiful. Believe it or not, this tail has a special setup where it's held together with nylon bolts. In the event of a crash, the nylon bolts actually snap off to save the tail. Didn't think that really was gonna work, but I put this thing in the trees the other day, and the tail is perfect. I mean, it snapped right off, and there was no damage to the tail. I was able to use it again. The blades on this are not the stock blades. As I told you, I just crashed this thing. The blades that came on it originally were 570s from Saab. Great blades. They flew great. This is 580s. Saab actually discontinued the 570s, so I had to go up to a 580, which is not bad. I saw these, and the reason I went with these is actually because of the look. They actually match the helicopter 100%. I mean, I'll give you a top view here. So they're perfect neon yellow. Same with the tails. These are 95mm tails. Again, 580 blades. Took me a little bit of getting used to. The 570s were definitely a smaller blade, but different kind of performance. You know, the larger the blade you go, the more floaty feel they tell you get. After a couple flights though, I adjusted and now I'm using these. It seems to be flying great. Who's this helicopter for? So again, even though beginners could fly this helicopter, the only reason why I don't recommend it for beginners is in the beginning you do a lot more crashing. You know, I've been lucky enough to fly this for the last 2 years without any incident. You know, things on this helicopter are premium, right? So this is like buying a Ferrari. Parts on it cost a little bit more. You know, that tail is 80 to 90 bucks alone. The canopy, which is, you know, full carbon fiber. And I'll just give you a little shot here, how beautiful it is. So again, canopy's almost 100 bucks. So, you know, if you get in a crash and you destroy the canopy and just the tail alone, that's $200 right there, right? So, you know, again, if I was just starting out again in the hobby, I would go with like an Align. Aligns are a great helicopter. They fly great. There's, you know, nothing wrong with them. The nice part is, though, very inexpensive to repair. You know, you could throw a Align 500 in the ground and spend like 70 bucks to fix the whole thing, right? You know, your tail boom costs you like $15 versus 80. But, you know, once you're flying, this is the helicopter to fly. You know, one of the big differences in this helicopter compared to other helicopters I've flown is no giant flywheel. If you take a look here, and I'm going to move up a little close, try not to make you guys dizzy. So SAB uses this transmission, and in this transmission, it's belt driven to the motor. You know, at first when I was switching over from my other helicopters to this, I was a little bit worried. I'm like, oh my God, all these belts and everything. Am I going to really like this thing? Is it going to be a pain in the ass? No. Actually, I tell you, it flies better than any gear-driven helicopter I've ever flown. It's simple setup. I just like it so much better. And of course they did this, which allows them to make the body smaller and encapsulate the whole thing. So when the canopy's on this, it's just an unbelievable, beautiful looking helicopter. My only complaint about the helicopter, and it's not really a complaint about the helicopter itself, it's about the manual. So their manuals are unbelievable. They're beautiful color, step-by-step blowouts. I mean, the build is just excellent, but it's all about the transmission here. So this transmission comes sealed when you get it. It comes sealed with the main shaft installed. You know, the manual, it says, oh, you know, if you get in a crash, you could just remove this little red plate and pull out the shaft and replace it. I'm sure you can do that. Would I do that? No. You know, when I have any kind of incident, I want to make sure everything's perfect. Inside that transmission, when you pull out that shaft, there are 2 different kinds of shims and there's a sleeve. So when you lift that up and you put that back in, you have to be careful that you didn't drop anything into the transmission. Plus, when I'm doing a repair, I usually replace everything, right? So if I'm going to replace the main shaft, I'm going to replace that shim that might be worn out also. I just think it's better practice. So getting to the transmission, it's really not a big deal. I mean, there's 5 bolts on there that you just heat them up real fast and the whole transmission cover comes off. But again, going back to my complaint about the helicopter, is there's no instructions on the maintenance of this motor. So, actually I shouldn't say motor, should transmission. There's no instructions. How much grease should be in there, right? So there's grease inside that transmission there. They don't tell you, you know, oh, you should replace it every couple hundred flights. They don't tell you how much grease to actually put in there. So when I did the repair on this, you know, I was watching the only video I could possibly find, which was back in the day, there was a pinion problem with this and you had to replace the pinion if you got an older model. Mine happens to be one of the newer ones and the pinion's new. But watching that video, the determined how much grease was in the transmission, and I redid it. I haven't had any issues, so I'm assuming I did a good job. But again, it would be nicer to say, you know, this is how much grease should be in here, and this is when you should actually replace it if it needs to be replaced at all. But otherwise, again, exceptional helicopter. I'm never going back to a gear drive. This belt drive motor thing is the best. Sound is awesome. Performance is awesome. And again, you know, this is just my recommendation. You know, you got to fly it yourself, but like I said, this is a premium helicopter. Everything about it is premium. So I hope that helps you making your decision. Let me know what you think. Thanks.